what they're saying, right? Just be clear for our audience, because I actually read that article. I didn't look at that. But what they said was
dropping gems like we preach. Welcome to another episode of Jury's Out. Got your host here, Splaticus, aka Jack Gomez. Splat. Of course, I got with me Eugene.
What up?
And Ev.
What up?
And we ready to do it. And today's guest, we have a great guest with us today, Anthony Lucic. The people love you, man.
Wow. Warm reception.
How you doing, Anthony?
Good. How you guys doing today?
Good, man. It's hot.
It's a hot one
Yeah,
today,
it's a
that's for
hot
sure.
one. So
Man, I got caught in this crazy rain coming in here.
Yeah?
Did you see that? Like, did you guys see that?
No, man. It's been hot as balls over here.
I'm like on the Grand Central out of nowhere. It's just like downpour.
Wow,
Downpour.
okay.
It's been sunny over here, baby.
Yeah, I don't see any rain.
Yeah, well, this is where you want to be, right? Brooklyn.
Yeah, I guess. So anyway, we're here today to discuss personal fitness, business and fitness, and everything that has come from that, and the society we had to maneuver to get to where we are now, right? So Anthony, just to start us off, what you own a CrossFit gym company? Like, what would you classify it as?
So we are a CrossFit affiliate. Basically, CrossFit, you license the name directly from CrossFit.
Okay.
We're individually owned and operated. Every CrossFit in the world is a mom and pop.
Okay.
Right? They started out just a regular gym, and they reach out to CrossFit, and they're like, I want that name. How do I get that name?
And so CrossFit is like it's like a regulation. It's like kind of like an alcohol license.
It's not like that. They have zero hands in the cookie jar, right? So
Okay.
they don't touch our business. We license the name, right? But along with that comes the methodology. So you're prescribing to we're doing CrossFit,
Okay.
right? But it's not a franchise. A lot of people think Dunkin' Donuts, they think CVS.
Right.
It's not. I own my business outright. I started out as a strength and conditioning facility. We started doing CrossFit, and then I reached out to them and I got the license.
So this is somebody who's got to come and be like, okay, this is a CrossFit gym because you have to have certain equipment or you have to have, certain programs that you're offering people.
It would be nice. It's a double-edged sword. It would be nice to have that kind of assistance.
Right.
But they're very libertarian, very hands-off. They're giving you the name. They're vouching for you. This is a CrossFit gym. But the onus is on us. Like, we run it the way we want.
Right.
And that's kind of also, that's what's wrong with it in a sense because there's no quality control.
Right. So people could have CrossFit gyms, and then people who do CrossFit could come in and be like, this ain't no CrossFit gym.
You get a lot of that,
you
man.
get a lot? Okay, yeah.
Well, we had a couple come from Alabama just yesterday, and they're like, "Wow, we love this. This is great.
This is the real CrossFit.
This is the real deal, right?" and then you know what? They're like, "Oh, we went to another place in the city. I don't want to say who, but they're like, oh, we went there, and it was garbage. Like the workout was garbage. Like they don't know what they're doing."
I talked to them. They were shitting on that gym.
Yeah, they were. They hated it.
They were
Oh
just
man!
like-
But that's the problem, right? Because it's like, what's CrossFit? Is that CrossFit? Are we CrossFit?
Right.
Essentially, I tell people CrossFit is functional movements, constantly varied, performed at high intensity.
Okay.
On the surface level, that's the basic way to explain it. We take functional movements. You're not going to see those fly pec deck machines, fly machines, Smith machines. You're not going to see any of that. It's all what your body does naturally: throwing, squatting, jumping.
And mostly just like your own body and using your own body weight.
There are gymnastics components, moving your body through space and time. There's a gymnastics
I
component.
see like those like pull-ups where they go like
Yeah,
that.
bar muscle. Oh man, Eugene's flying on those bars. You see him flying around on those
Yeah,
bars.
so I see there's certain workouts that are like, oh, that's a CrossFit gym, or they're doing CrossFit
Yeah,
because of
that's-
the type of workouts that they're doing.
Yeah, the best way to explain it, we take modalities from every aspect of fitness. So you'll see like the gymnastics element, right? That bar stars element, that bar muscle up. But then you layer in on top of that Olympic weightlifting, right? You layer in on top of that powerlifting, strongman, high intensity like HIIT training, boot camp. So a little bit of everything: endurance training, rowing, swimming, biking, and it's beautiful because it's you're growing in every aspect of fitness.
Okay.
You're not just doing one thing.
And so I guess that's probably answering my next question is why specifically CrossFit? Like why not like do the regular gym that has those chest things and the other shit that other machines.
So a little backstory. Like we take a step back here. Like I started out. I'm a Marine. I did 8 years in the Marine Corps.
Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you. So I'm always training my Marines, right? We take them out for runs. We do pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups. We didn't really, that's all we knew about fitness, right? But I ran those fitness sessions. I would take the guys up the mountain running.
You were the one screaming at them?
Screaming at them. I would do all that. I was a sergeant at the time. I'm like, let's fucking go. So I bring components of that into my training. But
Good.
that's where I started. So I was used to training people. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I'm like, what the fuck do I do? 2 tours in Iraq. I'm good at shooting machine guns, and I'm good at yelling at people.
And you can't shoot machine guns.
Can't get a damn machine gun in New York City. So I'm like, let me start a CrossFit gym. So I'm like, let me be a personal trainer, right? I went back to school. I forgoed a bunch of police officer, firefighter, all that stuff. I'm like, I know better. I'm going to go back to school. And I went to study exercise science. I learned a little bit about that at Adelphi University out in Garden City.
Nice.
And
Shout out to Adelphi.
Yeah. And then while I'm going to school, a buddy of mine I was in Iraq with, he's like, hey, you got to come try this workout routine. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. We go down to Brooklyn, right? CrossFit South Brooklyn is where I started. First workout, 120 pull-ups on this thick pull-up bar. It was made of raw steel and some dumbbell thrusters, which is like a squat and a press.
Yeah.
And 20 minutes later, my hands are bleeding everywhere, and I'm like, fucking love that.
Okay,
that's a level of crazy, right? So I'm like, I love this shit.
Yeah.
So he ends up getting me a job. He gets a job here in Queens, CrossFit Queens at the time. He's like, yo, you want to get a job? I'm like, I would love to teach this stuff. So I get a job there, and the two of us are like, let's open our own gym. Right? Fuck it. We're good at this. We know what we're doing. So we do it. We tell the owners, we're opening our own gym. And they fucking hated that, right?
Yeah.
They're like, they sat us down. They're like, yo, you can't do that. You can't steal all our business.
Yeah.
But we tried it anyways, and 2 Marines, we're dumb. We eat crayons. We don't know what we're doing. It failed. We failed miserably. We could not get it off the ground. Nobody told us this is the blueprint.
What year was this?
2010 is when we tried.
What was the obstacle that made it you couldn't get it off the ground?
So we had all the merchandise. We had Chuck Taylors with our logo on it. We had everything. We thought we knew what we were doing, right?
Except equipment.
We had equipment, the facility. We didn't know how to negotiate a lease. We didn't know how to start an LLC.
Damn.
We didn't know any of that stuff. This is 2010, and so it just kind of never got off the ground. We both were incredible coaches. We had passion, right? But we just didn't know how to get it done. And so he ended up moving to Texas with his family. I stayed in New York City. I kind of kept grinding it out as a coach. And then eventually I got the plane off the ground, right? So in 2012, I opened my own gym out in Bayside, and then it kind of grew from there. But that's really how the CrossFit game started. I did a workout. I fell in love with it. I did it for 2 years. I coached it. And then I'm like, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. And that's the beauty of CrossFit. It kind of empowered the personal trainer. And this is way back before COVID. This is way back before online classes, way before park workouts. Now you see it everywhere. People are doing working boxing classes in the park.
And so what's interesting is before CrossFit had this boom, that I saw in social media and just people talking about how they do it.
It's just there's people.
The best type of
Before that, there were these guys called the bartenders. And they would just these hood motherfuckers in the jungle gyms just doing that.
Yeah. That's
Just
what we talk about.
leaning sideways and pulling themselves up, doing
Defying
this crazy,
gravity.
going
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and coming
yeah.
all the way down.
Those guys are brolic.
And
bro.
but that's because that's all they do though. They wake up, they eat fruit, they go work out, and then go to sleep.
And they bartend.
No, but they call themselves the bartenders because they were just lifting up on the bar.
Yeah, I got it.
I respect that so
They
much.
weren't actual bartenders. They weren't like, yeah, what you need?
I respect that because it's you don't need to pay $200 a month for fitness.
Right.
The park is right there, man. These guys do amazing stuff in the park. You know, they're just not lazy. That's all it is. At the end of the day, you just gotta get out and do it.
Right.
Well, that willpower though, they need to start selling that shit in bottles.
Right? Willpower. Once a day, it keeps the bitch away.
Hold on, that's tequila, right? The tequila is my willpower.
So pre-COVID, what were the big obstacles that you had to overcome? I'm glad that the plane lifted off the ground, but now keeping it in flight. So what were the obstacles of keeping it in flight after you got it off the ground?
So I was lucky. I always tell people the ship has sailed, right? On that particular business model, because it was grassroots. I took $8,000 out of my checking account, my life savings, my entire life savings, took it out, put it down on a property, got a couple things of equipment, bare bones equipment. And I started with nothing. I started with maybe 12, 15 clients, and I built it from there. So that's hard to do nowadays, right?
No social media, no nothing like that.
No social media, word of mouth.
Right.
Nowadays, rent is astronomical,
Yeah.
man. It's crazy. So I think the business model has shifted, and we could talk about that a little later, like where it's going, right, and how people can capitalize on the future of fitness. But back in the day, it was a little bit easier. There wasn't a lot of CrossFit games in town. You know, I was one of the only ones, so I started out small and I grew grassroots. Instagram popped off at like 2012, I think, my first year.
Yeah.
And so I got on Instagram.
It's 10 years over.
Yeah, seriously.
Time
I was on
flies when you're having
Facebook. I had my MySpace going. I had my top 8. Everybody else.
No, that's
That was a thing.
yeah,
bro.
MySpace.
Yo, when I first opened my sidebar, when I first opened my MySpace and I saw Tom was a friend, I thought he was a pedophile. And I immediately like blocked him. I was like, yo, who the fuck is this guy? And then my friends had to be like, no, bro, he's always your first friend. And I was like, oh, I sent him this whole note, like, bro, who the fuck are you?
That's what you
like,
guys-
you my dick, like, you grown ass man, like that don't fucking.
You guys got to get Tom on this show. I want to hear his story.
So it was mostly grassroots people just knowing you in person and seeing already what you were capable of.
Yeah. You got to be charismatic. You have to obviously know what you're talking about, right? That's always a prerequisite, but you have to be interesting and people have to like you and they have to draw a connection with you. And I was lucky while I was coaching at CrossFit Queens, I got about 10, 15 people who really liked my style, right? And when I opened to crawl 8 miles away, they traveled. They went from Astoria out to Bayside. And that's not an easy commute. It's it's like a half hour, 40 minutes in traffic. And they came out and they supported me and they're members of mine. And then from there, it just kind of kept growing. It just was a snowball effect.
But I mean, listen, I feel like at that early stage, although the plane was in the air, you can consider that an early stage. Yeah. People willing to take the drive, to travel the time, to cut the time out of their day to come to you is a great indicator of like, yo, bro, I'm doing something right. Like I have something that has long lasting, a great base. That's right. So,
but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I did everything right. I made mistakes every step of the way. And anytime a prospective business owner comes to me, I'm like, talk to me. I will be your best resource. I will tell you every mistake I've made and how not to make that mistake, at least to give you a heads up.
Right.
That's very common, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's very common. Like a lot of people, very talented people who want to do their own thing, but they don't understand the business part of it first. You know, they kind of like what you did. You know, you got the equipment, you got all the logos, and you did everything else, but getting a lease.
Yeah.
You know?
So you might have the passion, you might have the perseverance to a certain point, but you just don't have the basic understanding, and that's tough. And what I gotta say about for business owners, nobody taught me any of this stuff. You have to sit down till 4 o'clock in the morning, sometimes figuring it out. How the hell do I file my taxes? How the hell do I keep my books? How the hell do I negotiate a new lease? All that legal, right? You guys know, think about that, right?
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot to it. It's not that easy. So I made the mistake. I took on a business partner very early on because financially, I was insecure. I'm like, I don't know if I have enough money. For me, it was the worst thing I could have done, right? It was a crutch that ended up biting me in the ass. And I ended up having a huge legal dispute with this person. We broke off. I opened my own gym 5.5 years ago now. And it was like starting fresh, starting all over. And now I had to apply all of those things I did in 2012 in 2017. And a lot of it didn't work anymore, right?
It was outdated.
Grassroots doesn't work anymore 2017. You need social media. You need to have the prices on leases were through the roof at this point. And it was a really difficult second try, I should say, And so I ended up, luckily, I made it work. I had a good following that came with me. I figured out some of the stuff that I messed up on, the first time. The pitfall that ended up happening is COVID. So now I got the ball running.
I wanted it to.
I definitely want to hear about how did you survive.
So for 3 years, I'm like growing. I'm like, this is amazing. The best thing I've ever did is go solo. This project.
And you're still running this by yourself, right?
Yeah. Now I'm 100% owner. 2017, opened my brand new location. All me. Going through a lawsuit, litigating a split with the business partner, but I'm focusing.
How many clients you had about now?
So now my brand new one, I would say like 50. Right, so I went from, I was upwards.
Like before COVID hit, how many clients?
Oh, so as we grew before COVID, it was up to 300.
Okay.
I remember I hit the 300 mark in my system, and I was like, oh. Like Retro Fitness, we're gonna franchise. I'm going everywhere.
I'm coming for you, Planet Fitness.
West Coast.
On the TVs, they're like, COVID.
No, so this is what happened. So we're growing. I'm like hit 300th member. I had like 30 people in a class. I had Olympic weightlifting on the side with like 15 people going on. And I'm just like, this is. I remember this. And I got the worst luck in the world. So I sat there and I was like, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
Right. And then like, boom, COVID hits. I remember March 16th.
Yes, that's exactly the date.
Is that the date?
Exactly the date.
So I write an email to all my members. I get on Facebook. I'm like, we're gonna persevere. We're gonna stay open. You know, we're gonna work through this. Just bear with us. You know, no one's shutting us down. And then Andrew, you were one of those. Fucking Andrew Cuomo that night gets on the television and he's like, everything's shutting down. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's that day. I just had swallowed my pride. I'm like, you know what? Public health safety. This is important.
Right.
I sent out emails. I'm like, we're closed.
Yeah.
You know, just stay home 2 weeks. Flatten the curve, guys. 2 weeks. Flatten the curve.
I remember that was the exact date because I had gotten off of a 2-week cruise and came back to everything just being closed. First of all, I found out
You brought COVID to us.
somebody, but they weren't on my boat. My boat was the only cruise that was able to port, and nobody had COVID.
Oh,
every
nice.
other port we went to, they were just closed because they wouldn't let people off the boat. They had COVID.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh my
I didn't know we were going to get back in the country. Like I didn't know what COVID was. I'm like, what is this COVID
I had
shit?
gotten
What
back
is
from
it, the
Singapore
flu?
like 2 weeks before that, like a week or two before that.
You're lucky you get COVID and chlamydia.
That'd be an interesting conversation with my wife. We got chlamydia on our honeymoon. What happened?
COVID in the clap, baby.
Dance clubs get crazy over there.
Straight up, man.
So we shut down. We're just like, yo, we're out of business.
Yeah.
Did you go virtual?
No, so I
or-
wrote everybody an email, like, bear with us. If you could please support the gym through April, we'd really appreciate it. Give us one more month. Things will be fine. I know it. I have a
contingency plan, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I know, everything will be fine. 2 weeks, everything will be fine. So I'm like, pay your April membership, we'll be good. People started emailing me, hey, my job already let me go. I got to quit. Yeah, you know, I'm not sure. I don't want to, you know, money's tight right now. My job might let me go. I'm going to put my gym membership on pause. Everybody started quitting. And I was like, I see the emails coming in, and I'm sitting in my office by myself, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. I am panicking. I'm literally panicking.
Yeah.
And I'd say we lost about 50% in March. From March to April 1, everybody just jumped ship. And now April 1 rolls around. I bill everybody. My landlord's hounding me for money.
All of them were, yeah.
Yep. So luckily I saved up a little bit of money. I paid my April. I'm like, it can't possibly last any longer than April, right? Write a nice email. by May 1, we lost almost everybody. Almost everybody. People moved back home with their parents. People went to a different state.
Everybody was in
Everybody
panic
was
mode.
leaving.
Everybody was
leaving.
Crazy.
People were in panic mode. So
And you know what? CrossFit's not cheap.
understandably, yeah.
It's not a Blink Fitness $10 a month. You're
Right.
spending $200+ a month.
Right.
I understood.
That was probably the first to go.
Exactly.
We
So-
gotta make some cuts. Jim's gotta
So
go.
May rolls around, and I'm like, you know what? I'm in full-blown panic mode. I'm like, how do I survive this? I know what I'm going to do. On the down low, I'm going to shut the door, speakeasy style. I'm going to do my own workouts.
Right.
So I box out like 12 different stations, give every station like all the equipment they need for a workout. I keep the doors down. I'm like, we're going to open May 15th. I send out an email like an idiot. I should have learned from my lawyers. Shut your damn mouth. Don't email.
No paper
Nothing
trail,
in
bro.
writing. Call
It's
everybody.
2012 again. Word of mouth.
I should have called everybody. So I wrote an email and it got around, and all the other businesses were like, they were upset. They're like, hey, you can't do that. That's not allowed. And even internally, some of our members were like, hey, public health, you shouldn't be doing this. People started reporting us.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Calling 311,
Yeah,
311, 311.
it's happening.
And
Did anybody show up to shut you down?
So the sheriff's department comes in one day. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? It's in my middle of the day. There's no classes.
Is just
So
you in there? Nobody
Just me by myself. So I go to the door like an idiot. I open the door. These two female sheriffs, full tactical equipment, black on black. I've never seen a sheriff in my life. I've never seen a sheriff. And then I've never seen a tactically equipped sheriff.
Yeah.
Hands on their gun. And I'm like, I open my door. I'm like, yo, what are you going to shoot me? Like, I'm in my own business.
Yeah.
And they do a whole walkthrough. They're like, you're the only one here. I'm like, yeah, I'm the only one here. And they're like, give me your ID. And at this point, I'm like, is this real? Is this real life right now? It's like the Gestapo coming around.
Is this America?
Yeah, is this America? I fought for my freedom. I'm American.
Where's your ID?
So they're
like,
like,
you have one.
yeah, they're like, oh, we got a bunch of 311 complaints, and we have to, come and check it out. And I'm like, I'm closed. I'm here. I'm like, I'm waiting for a package. That's what I said.
Yeah.
I lied right to him. I'm like, fuck him. Lied to him.
The heaviest edited episode of TJL.
Allegedly.
No, that's
we call it redacted.
they called me right away. They're just like, you can't be here. I'm like, you can't even wait for a package. You have to get your package at home.
Oh wow, really?
I'm like, what? I gotta be. I'm like,
Fuck outta here.
I'm like, I have weights coming. There's big weights.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? All right. They took my ID. I gave them my ID. They gave me a warning, and I'm like, yes, officer, I won't do it again. And then so we shut down. I wasn't gonna gain. I wasn't gonna chance it. I didn't need fines on top of already lost memberships.
Right.
So we just shut down, and then the rest of May kind of came and went. I had my daughter on May 15th, so I spent a couple weeks at home with my daughter.
Okay.
It was really nice. Got to spend quality time with her. You know, skin to skin contact, all that stuff. And then June, I'm like, what's the game plan? How do we open? Right? Yeah. What are we doing?
June 2020, right?
June 2020. And so we started doing outdoor workouts, right?
Okay.
And every day I dragged all my equipment outside. I think that's when Eugene ended up finding us.
So on the same side, where this is happening at Unleashed, at CrossFit Queens, right, which is the gym that you used to coach at. That's the gym I did before COVID. A lot of people were holding out. Like, I don't think they had the exodus that Unleashed had because.
What do you mean holding out?
Like they were getting people to pay monthly, even though you had you weren't getting no services. A lot of people were still paying monthly, and that's because a bunch of us were locked into like promotional plans.
Yeah.
So I was paying like a $125 to go to CrossFit Queens, which is like really cheap.
That's cheap, yeah.
So like in my mind, I'm like, I'll hold out.
So if you
Because any other gym, $200, $250.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, I will pay you to just keep my grandfathered membership in.
Right. And you know that as soon as you left, they would have been like,
Yeah,
you want to come back 200.
So like a lot of their like, I don't know how many left when Unleashed people left, but a lot of like, let's say if you lost half, maybe they lost half, but then that other half was staying because of this one reason.
Right.
And at the same time when Unleashed decided to start doing outdoor gyms, which I didn't hear about until after what my gym decided to do. What their plan was, because they didn't have as much outside space. They had the same amount of outside space, but it was like on a very crowded part of Astoria.
Okay.
Like Unleashed is like in like almost like construction area looking area.
Like warehouses and shit like that?
Yeah.
And so mid-June, they made an announcement in the city, like you can have gatherings of 7 people, right?
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that's when Queens started saying, hey, we're going to do classes.
Exactly. Yeah. You could have 7 people. Outside, you can do whatever you want. So Unleashed kept doing the outside stuff. At my gym, everyone was like trying to wait to see what they did. They because of the limited number of people they could have physically in the gym, what they said is that what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it back, but we're gonna make it ultra like awesome, like high, like quality. Like you get individual like coaching, like basically because there's less of us, we're gonna give you more.
Attention.
And the price point was $400.
Oh, man. When I heard that, do you know, like sometimes you just wait for your opponent to make a mistake?
Yeah.
And I saw that and I was like, yep, that's game over. Game over.
$400. So
everybody's out here losing their jobs. $400.
and the thing
We're
is,
gonna add caviar.
they were doing like their version of outside, but it was like at a park and it was very complicated. They weren't doing it right outside because right outside is easy. The equipment's there right outside. They weren't doing that. So I never went to that park shit. So when for $400, I was like, I literally emailed them. I was like, can I just keep paying you $125 and just not show up until this is figured out?
Yeah.
No. Like, so when I said it was a legitimate exodus from CrossFit Queens to Unleashed. Like literally, and then one of my
same people that were there at CrossFit Queens went to Unleashed.
Yeah. So we lost a lot during that time period, and they kept us alive because these other gyms were making these mistakes, charging astronomical prices,
Right.
and they ran to us, and we were doing this fun stuff outside, water balloon fights, and half the price, and everyone's like, "Yo, what's?" And then word of mouth, right? So like now Eugene joins, and then his buddies join, and then they see it on Instagram, and then they join. So it really was a blessing in disguise, and we were able to survive through the summertime until we had capacity reductions inside.
it was like 12, 15.
But man, that was still a pain. Like 33%, and then like 6 months later, it was like 66%, and then finally full capacity. It was a grind, and then you know what? 2021 was a grind the entire year because of capacity restrictions. 2022 January we had Omicron, So I'm like, yo, when is this gonna end?
Right.
It
So
should
now,
have ended, man.
January, you usually get the biggest bump in our membership.
Yeah, because of New Year.
And then Omicron happens, and it's like, well, I'm not joining the gym in January.
Yeah.
And it's still to this point, I tell you, 300 members is what we had before COVID. We're sitting at like 250.
Nice.
So we're not there
Watch
yet.
out for monkeypox.
Fuck monkeypox,
Oh my
man.
God! And you know what?
man.
You know what? The biggest issue, like I totally respect this public health stuff. It's important, right? But when you start getting members like emailing you, like, "What are you gonna do about monkeypox?" I'm like, I don't know. What is the government doing about
Just don't fuck each other.
Stop.
Monkeypox
Stop.
requires skin to skin
Yeah,
contact.
stop touching
If
each
you
other.
guys don't fuck each other at the gym, it's not our problem.
Everything's fine.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Literally, it's prolonged
Yes,
skin-to-skin contact.
it's basically fucking herpes.
If you're touching somebody that long at the gym, there's an issue, right? It's my programming is fucked up.
So, but I would imagine like that the year that's 2020, like you didn't stop going outside until what? Maybe the end of September, maybe even October, because it's still kind of like tolerable to be outside, right?
Yeah. And
When
then-
was like that last day that you were like, okay, it's getting too cold to do shit
we
outside?
pushed it to like November, I think.
Yeah,
We took
right?
it inside.
Because
I
I
love
mean,
cold.
I would love it to be freezing cold and be like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
I feel like steam coming off my body. I feel like fucking Goku
Yeah.
with some shit.
It's great for you, and then I'm out there as a trainer. I'm like,
You gotta be in a
3-4
snorkel, right?
hours in a row with my beanie and gloves on. I was like, it's not that cold. I'm like, oh, you stop moving. It's fucking cold. And it's just, I know, I attribute surviving to the way I opened, that grassroots, because you have to always be rolling with the punches, figuring it out as you go. So now COVID happened. Somebody with like financial backers and multiple people that help them out financially and a whole team and who have like the business know-how might not have been able to survive that because they don't have that savviness of how do I figure this out?
Right.
Or this wild card. What do I
Right.
do now? And that's the Navy SEALs say the only easy day was yesterday. That's like an expression.
Right.
You kind of have that same mindset. Every day has been harder than the last as a business owner. And if you go into it with that mindset that this is not a constant, right? It's an ever evolving project. You're going to have bumps in the road all the time. That's why I say perseverance is a big thing. As a new business owner coming in, you got to have perseverance because it's not going to be an easy ride, even if you have the best business idea, right? Yeah. So, any new person coming in, if you have that perseverance to figure it out, you're going to be successful.
And so now, perseverance, right? But like, given it, what would be an example of perseverance would be like, oh, I'm a problem solver.
Yep.
I see a problem, and I'm not focused on how it's gonna fuck me. I want to focus on, okay, how can I solve this? Right? I feel like that's one version of perseverance, right? Well, maybe another version of perseverance is, okay, now that I have less, what can I do with the little bit I have? So how has your approach to growing your business and keeping the bird in flight been affected by COVID? Like, do you have contingency plans now? Like, in the back of your mind or written down where it's like, okay, God forbid this happens again, I know how to get over this obstacle a little bit more efficiently.
I always joke, I'm like, you know what? We're just not going to close next time. I saw the punishment. I'm like, I'm not closing. But
Hold the line! Hold the line!
I got that Rambo like meme in my head. So I honestly just, perseverance. There's so many times that people have told me like, what are you going to do? I'm just like, I got it. I'll figure it out with absolutely no idea what I'm going to do. Right. But it's that mindset of I'm going to figure it out. And they always, the people are generally, when things happen, they get scared. They're like panic mode. What do I do? And my mindset is always like, I'm going to fucking figure it out. I don't know how I'm going to figure it out, but I'm going to figure it out.
Right. That's the same thing I tell my wife. What are you going to do next week? But I got to do X, Y, Z. I'll figure it out.
How are you going to get those underwear in the hamper? I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Figure it out, baby. I live on the edge.
Yeah. So like that's one aspect of perseverance. You gotta figure it out. So I always have that mindset. I'm going to figure it out. That's for sure. So in the midst of COVID, if it happens again, I'm going to figure it out. Because if you go in thinking like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, the variables might be different, right? It might be a completely different ball game. So you gotta be on your toes all the time.
When you said you had grassroots stuff, like did it were you like connected to like the certain community businesses around there that help donate, or like
I wish I was more involved with the community. I think a big thing of CrossFit South Brooklyn does a great thing with the historical society in South Brooklyn. I wish we were more in tune with the community, because I think it's a very powerful tool. I've done breast cancer fundraisers in the past. I've raised 30, 40, 50. I think one year I raised $80,000 with my community for breast cancer.
Bro, there you go.
And
Yeah.
You
gotta shout out that.
And it wasn't me. It was a community grassroots thing. And I think there's a lot of value in CrossFit outside of the fitness world, outside of showing people how to get in shape and helping them in health. I think community is huge, right? And you think about like the Boys and Girls Club, what they've done for like our communities and things like that. There's so many great programs. And my biggest, before COVID, we stopped with the breast cancer fundraising, and then COVID happened. And my biggest regret is that we have not gotten involved again in the community. And that's my big thing. My big push for the future is I want to get involved.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that. So now, of course, COVID not only affected you financially, and systematically in development, but also, people's minds got fucked up after the pandemic. And so I'm sure that the people that stuck with you, you still saw a change in their mood, right? Or maybe their ability to like do one more rep or things like that. So what kind of services do you have now, or that you're thinking of providing on top of just the physical, the physical service that you give your clients?
Yeah, I think, the future of fitness is not just fitness, it's mental health. Right. Mental health is it's not physical, it's mental, right? Overall spiritual health, all that stuff is huge for the future, because COVID has shown us that being stuck indoors is not good for your mental health, right? Well, everything that's happened has destroyed people's mental health. Fitness has a profound effect on your mental health. It's actually been shown that like soldiers with PTSD, it's incredibly beneficial with helping with PTSD. Those endorphins after a workout. And so I think that's the big change. You're selling people not fitness. I'm selling you a better mental state of being. Yeah. When you leave there, you're healthier physically and mentally. Right. And I think really, if any fitness guy that's a man or woman doing workouts in the park and has a client base, they need to be pushing that mental health component, right? You're stressed at work all the time. This is going to reduce your stress. Right. This is going to help you mentally, physically.
I think even the form of like CrossFit being in a type of workout where you have to push yourself, like, cause I think if let's say you go to the gym and you bench or you do curls, you can get a good workout in. You can be building your body, and it is helping your mental health. But I think pushing yourself and coming out there like you're almost fucking gonna die separately has a huge effect on my mental health.
I guarantee you, like if you're embattled with somebody in a court case, right, and you have that perseverance, that push for one more rep, and the person you're going up against doesn't have that mentality, do you think they're going to put in that extra work to beat you, or to put in that extra work to get the case in order? They're not. No way in hell, right? So, no way. No, they're going to let that. They're just going to whatever.
So I mean, so that's kind of like, shining a light on there are people who have it and the people who don't. But I'm sure your gym, you kind of give people an opportunity to create that. Because like some people say wolves are going to be wolves and lambs are going to be wolves.
No, I think
it's like you can. But some people believe that you can train a lamb to be a wolf.
I'm saying that like what I really like about CrossFit is that even if you scale it down and you're doing a lighter version of the workout, you're leaving there pushing yourself. Like if you've only gone to the gym and done like just lifting, right? No high intensity workout. You're leaving every CrossFit workout pushing yourself further than you've ever pushed yourself on a fitness, on your stamina, like you're pushing yourself. So, and I'm saying that pushing of yourself has its own separate benefit from just staying in shape.
Yeah. And to your point, it's like, do you have it or not have it, right? I see a little bit of both. I see members who come in that have that innate drive, but then you also see someone that they develop it over time, right? You give them the tools and they figure it out, and they're like, oh, I understand what that extra mile is. People come to me all the time. They're like, I can't do that. I was like, what? I don't understand that word. Can't. Yeah. What is that? What is that? Right?
My coach said all
you definitely. I'm trying to say that, like doing it will make you better at it. And years of doing it or months of doing it, because you start to physically get in shape, but then your will for punishment starts to get in shape. So two things, and then your skill levels is better. So you're getting better in multiple levels, and they're all having an effect on your mental health and your fitness, I think.
I definitely enjoy it too much. I'm just like, oh, you can't? You can't? I'm like, we'll see.
Oh, no. The WODs, so the workouts of the day that he makes, fucking way worse than CrossFit Queens. I came, I was like, I know I'm fat from COVID, but what the fuck are these workouts? Like, these workouts are fucking disgusting.
What is this?
I've probably just gotten to the fitness level where I'm doing each WOD RX. So like RX means as prescribed. Like you're doing as he wrote it down on the paper. Anything but RX is scaled. And I'm a big like, fuck those scale people. I ain't doing that shit scaled. I'm RX every time. But when I came to CrossFit Unleashed, I was just like, yo, I can't RX this shit. This is fucking crazy.
No, but see, like
only like Olympic, you gotta go to the games to RX this shit.
But see, like he said that, he likes to hear, oh, you can't.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I've gotten
I
he
would
would do
challenge
COVID without being able to do that. He had to get that shit out.
facts, bro.
I need to get my rocks off, I tell people, I'm like, so we have a little internal app, and when they put their scores in, if they get a record, it has a good gold star. I'm like, ooh, give me those gold stars. I go home at night, and I sleep easy, knowing that you guys got gold stars today. But no, you know what? I attribute a lot of it to I actually do the program. Imagine going to a boxing coach, and they've never been in the ring boxing, and they've never thrown a punch. It blows my mind. A lot of these CrossFit gyms, their owners don't even do CrossFit. They don't do the program.
And that's a big thing, because how can you tell me to do something if I've never done it? Now, my grandfather, may he rest in peace, was a Marine during World War II. And so he would always tell me, he was like, anybody who was yelling at me to do something, they could do it. Like, they wouldn't tell me anything that they couldn't do themselves. Because if anybody were to say, man, you do that, they go, what? Boom. And they do it. And then be like, now you do it twice. Because I can do it twice. And so like that's a big thing. That's a big thing when it comes to leadership. That's a big thing when it comes to creating an environment and where you want to teach somebody something. Like, I'm an educator, right? I'm not going to teach something that I don't understand forwards and backwards, because if you don't know it forwards and backwards, you can't teach it.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly what I'm saying. Like, so how do these people own a gym? They hire quality coaches, yes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, leadership starts at the top.
Right.
Right?
The guy in the office can't be like,
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
there's
gotta
one
eating a
gym.
bucket of chicken, you gotta pay your membership.
There's one local gym.
It's like,
And they went out of business, and I don't like to talk poorly about people, but his wife was overweight, and she sat at the front desk. She'd eat her McDonald's.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, how do you do that? And another local gym owner, pot belly out to here, and I'm like, you can't do that.
You are your brand.
You are your brand, right? You're trying to sell. How am I going to tell you, like, I got you?
Yeah.
I don't got you. I don't even have myself.
I don't got me. Facts, man. That's facts. That's very important. Yeah, man.
But that's, like, you got to have, I don't know, these gym owners. It's not easy. I'm 37 years old. I go in, I see phenomenal athletes. Eugene's flying over the pull-up bar. He's doing this crazy stuff. And I'm like, yo, how do I keep up with these kids?
Yeah.
You got to try. You just got to keep trying.
So do you have I'm sorry to cut you off, but do you have a lot of vets that come because you're a vet? Do you feel like you attract that type of people?
We
Or is it a
do.
mixed bag?
I made the mistake of going back into the military in 2019.
Oh, okay.
You're in there now?
Why'd you do that?
I'm in now. So I no, I loved it. It was a passion of mine. I always wanted to retire as a military service member.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I couldn't get back into the Marine Corps. I have full sleeves. At the time, their policy was no tattoos.
Okay.
Oh wow.
So I'm like, where do I go? The Army allows up to 3 felonies. I'm like, let me go to the so I'm like,
They won't take you. We'll take you.
So I don't
we'll
want-
find a spot for you.
a buddy of mine's like, he's like, come join the airborne. They're fucking better than the Marine Corps. I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But so I joined the air. I became a paratrooper.
Yeah.
I jumping out of planes, things like that. So I do that on the reserve side part time. And I go and I just on the weekends jump out of planes.
There you go.
So last year I got hurt. I had a bad accident. I had to pull my emergency. Crazy story.
Oh,
but
shit.
Yeah. So I jumped out of my plane. Had twists in my parachute, which is very common. They teach you how to undo it. I'm like, yeah, it's common. So when you jump out of a plane, you're going 150 knots, like 180 miles an hour out of the plane, right behind the propellers.
Right.
And your feet go straight up in the air. You're all over the place. And if you don't have a strong exit, you get twisted up. So now I'm twisted. I'm falling faster than everyone. And they teach you how to undo it, but I couldn't get it undone. So I pull my emergency. My emergency parachute goes down between my legs, comes up, the suspension lines wrap up both of my feet in the lines. And my feet are straight up in the air at this point. And I'm like, I fucking panic. I'm in the air and I'm just like, I'm 800 feet off the ground. I'm dead. I'm like, I just see everything. It's my daughter's birthday. It's my daughter's. I'm like, what the fuck?
You're coming down like relatively slowly because of the parachute?
You normally come down 26 feet, 18 feet per second with the main parachute. I'm coming down fast because I got no parachute.
And head first.
No, so now my feet are up in the, like I'm horizontal.
Okay.
So I'm flat on the ground.
Belly flop onto it.
Oh man, if I was belly flop, I'm flat on my back. And so I start kicking my right leg loose, try to get the suspension lines off. I pull my rucksack to try to jettison it. I'm reaching for my rifle on my left-hand side. I'm like undoing these little beads. And as I'm doing that, boom, I fall on the ground flat on my back. I must have been like 26 plus feet per second. And just like, everything left me. I've heard everything crunching and I'm just like, I'm like, and I look around. I'm like dazed. I'm looking around. Everyone's like running towards me, and I just throw my thumbs up. I'm like, I'm gonna. And so like they all come to me like, yo, you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I got all that adrenaline.
I was gonna say that. What really happened?
Yeah, so I went to the ER, CAT scans. I tore the labrum in my hip. I scratched my cornea, like pinched a nerve in my back. Bunch of stuff. So I haven't jumped since then. Yeah. But
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm here. So I'm kind of put that on hold for a little bit. I'll get back to that.
This is why I don't jump.
So back to what my initial question. So do you have a lot of vets or like that are in your gym? Or?
I respect our veterans greatly. So we do 50% off for all veterans. If you're in my unit, it's free.
Right.
So if you're with me, you don't pay a dime.
Right.
But like any veteran in all of New York City, they were the best gym to begin with. I don't know why they wouldn't come to us to begin with. We're owner operated, veteran. Just come through.
Right.
So we respect our veterans. We give them a great rate.
Dope. And do you have any vets that I can have like missing leg and shit, and they're still out there fucking?
We don't have like we call them adaptive athletes. Right. We don't have anybody like that yet, but hopefully someday.
Right. I'm sure you would. Would you change the workouts for them because of their limited?
CrossFit's beautiful, right? So we say, your grandparents or parents came in. CrossFit is the same for everybody. Your needs of your grandparents and my needs differ by degree, not by the nature of like they shouldn't be doing anything different. They just do the same thing I'm doing at a different degree.
Okay.
And so they'll do the same workouts, whether you're an adaptive athlete missing a leg or an older, say you have obesity or whatever, high blood pressure, diabetes. Nothing changes. It's just the intensity level is relatively intense, so that might be a little bit slower, but you're still trying your best.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it. Is because it's functional. How do you sit on the toilet? You got to squat, right? Yeah. So we squat. You got to get to the toilet.
Yeah.
And so when people come in, they're like, I can't squat. The first thing I'm always like, how the fuck do you take a shit in the morning? You got handlebars in your bathroom?
No, there's a hole and I just stand.
Yeah.
It slides down my leg.
God help you if you go to fucking Japan and you got to squat all the way down.
Yeah, they go all the way down.
All the way down.
There's a hole in the ground.
Yeah. They drop it like it's hot.
But so it's adaptable. Anybody can do it. That's the beauty of it. Right. It's just different, You
got to scale it. No RX for you.
Right. That's what I said. So real quick, what's the future for your gym?
So definitely more community involvement. I want to help people outside of just fitness.
Okay.
And we're just gonna keep growing, try to get back to pre-COVID numbers, multiple locations. Our brand is just the beginning. So hopefully that happens. Second, third, fourth location. Right. I have a grand vision. 3 gyms, 3 years. I'm gonna keep pushing for that.
All right. So is there any words of wisdom that you may have for someone who just wants to start to be athletic or start to just really make that change for themselves to be a healthy version of themselves?
You need 3 things, right? You need passion. You gotta live what you want to do. You gotta have perseverance. You can't give up no matter what, no matter how hard it gets. You just gotta keep moving. And then so perseverance, passion, and you gotta have confidence. You can't second guess yourself. No matter if you're wrong or not, you gotta be confident about it. Make a decision and just move.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We really, really appreciate you coming on here, man. It's been a great conversation.
You guys are great.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back when we do like a more broad, fitness.
Yeah, we do some
CrossFit versus Peloton.
Yeah. We like that.
Cross River Pop.
Versus Tai Chi. I want the 90-year-old doing being like, you all don't know shit. I'm 150 years old.
I'll tell you some military stories next time, too.
Word. I definitely want to hear that.
Yeah.
But so where can the people find you at? Any social media? Your website? Throw it all online.
Yeah. So we're out on unleashed.nyc on all the social media. If you want to go to our website, CrossFitUnleashed.com. That's the best place. And
it'll pop up right on the video.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me. It's real fun. Yeah.
All right,
this is
great.
great.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And then this week we have an unsung hero,
Yes.
Rowan Frederick. He's a good friend of ours.
Yep.
You've seen him on an episode previously here with his wife. He's a nurse, and he spent several years in the emergency room, especially during COVID. So he served his time in that place.
Yes.
And he's
Appreciate
the
your work,
unsung
man.
hero of the year. He works in Manhattan as a nurse. So shout out to Rowan. You can go on our website
Shout out, Ro.
and check out our unsung hero blog for the week.
And our sponsor?
Sponsor is, as always, the most consistent sponsor, Hopkins Law Group. Thank you, appreciate you, as always.
Word, thank
Go
you
there,
for-
visit
thank you
them,
for paying
and
us
know
to
where
do
they
this.
at. You know where they at, by the way.
Thanks for the check.
And the location.
All
And
right.
for all that you do for the community.
Yes, thank you. And with that, peace.
Jury's out.
No, so what they're saying, right? Just be clear for our audience, because I actually read that article. I just look at that.
But let's handle interpretation.
What they said was
Dropping gems like we preaching. Don't overstep the line of my freedom of speaking. We cast to the world, put the words in the street and connecting all the minds of the people we reaching.
Yo,
Jury's out.
attempted to get fenced in and contempting. Teach you motherfuckers a lesson and pressing the issue at hand. Nah, I don't care about objections, suspensions, and cell inspections. Just suppression of black lives is my passion. And love for my fam is everlasting. So stop gassing these asses with glasses. Cause in the end, I leave them where the trash
Jury's
is.
out. Jury's out. Jury's out. It's not that what we about, and we kick it to the masses. Trying to spit the law, and we laugh off our asses. Breaking down the latest shit, carrying crazy lady shit. Glad I ain't got no baby shit. COVID got me crazy, bitch. Damn, and G gon' have to edit this. The jury's out, so you can't even credit us. No statements null and void, invalid evidence. No, you can't take us to court, cause you know. Jury's out. Jury's out. Jury's out. Jury's out.
I like to share knowledge. I like to share knowledge.
Again, it's more than sharing knowledge. It's
What is it? It's
Ask any attorney. When the jury's out, there's not a care in the world be. Sit and talk shit no matter where the judge be. Cause she can't judge me. My job is done because my guy not guilty. Don't try to tempt me to hell, I will send me. Look behind me, the team is with me. The jury's out, yeah, the jury's out. And if you got a doubt, is walking out.
I'm not force feeding anyone knowledge. Do you see? I don't see a gun.
Jury's
you don't
out.
need a gun to force anything, right? You know?
Dude, you can force people. You can force people knowledge by making them feel stupid. You can tell me like, wait, no, you don't understand. I'm gonna break it down, and then they're like, oh, okay.
Jury's
Am I
out.
with people's will? Yes. So does water kills rocks. You know what I mean? Like that's just a side thing. So does religion. I think religion, no. No. I think I'm better than a fucking like religion. I feel like it's on its last breath. Like I think I don't wanna. I think I'm smoother than that.
It's definitely not on his last breath.